Hello and welcome back to this tutorial. In our previous video, we were able to inspect our data. In this video, we are going to be loading and selecting data from our data frames. Okay, so like I said in our former video, I'm going to be working with only one file, and that is this data frame 1. So I'm going to be working with this CSV file, and the methods and the techniques for data analysis across all the data frames are the same. So whether you're working with a raw data frame that you created in your workspace, or you're working with an external file, the methods are the same. All right. So now, one of the first thing we did was to load our data from external file. Okay. So we were able to print the data that were in this CSV and Excel file. So, and we were able to do that by using this read CSV and read Excel method, and we were able to pass in the arguments that were needed, and we were able to load the files. Okay, so but what if you do not want to load the entire file? You just want to select a few rows. Okay, so now that is what we are going to be practicing in this tutorial. So the first thing we are going to be doing is that we are going to be selecting the different columns that are in this CSV file, right? So as you can see, we have 4 columns. We have the ID, the name, the age, and the city. So how do we select the columns? Okay, we can select these columns by passing in a dictionary operator. Now, we have already learned how to work with dictionaries, and if we want to get the value of a particular key, we just index it, and in a string code, enter the name of the key, right, that we want the value to come out for us. Okay, so if you look at this very well, when we are creating this data frame, the column name is like a key, and then the entire rows under that column is like a value. All right, so if you want to get the entire item that are in this particular row, you have to access it as though you're accessing a dictionary. So for instance, in this CSV file, we have this name column and we have the age column. So if I want to print only the name column, this is how I index it. So I am going to run this. I believe this is the only print statement we have in this file. So I am going to run this now, and we have all of the name column alongside with the index. So if we want to get the ID, so I'm just going to pass ID here as a string, and if I print this, this is going to give me all of the IDs that we have from 1 to 10. Okay, so now, so what if you need to print more than one column? Well, if you want to print more than one column, you have to index a list, right? You have to pass in all the columns that you want to get as a list. Okay, so I'm going to pass in the second square bracket. So the first square bracket is like, okay, I am indexing, but then it's not just one item that I want to index, indexing a list of items. So you are going to pass in all the columns that you want to access. So I might say that I want to access the ID and the city. So remember that we have a column for city here. So I'm going to run this now. And now we have the ID and the city printed out for us. So this is the way you can access your columns. Okay, so what if you want to access only the rows? All right, so if you want to access only the rows, instead of accessing them as a dictionary, we are going to use a method called the loc, that is location, or iloc. So these two, they do the same thing basically, but the only difference is that when you are using the location, it will give you all the indexes that you passed in, but if you use the ilocation, it will exclude the last index. So this is what I mean. So if I use this iloc and I say I want to go for, okay, for the first time I'm going to pass in just one index. So we remember that Python index from 0 to infinity. So now if I run this, I'm going to get the third item on that list. So as you can see that the ID is 3. So the one of ID 1 is index 0. So, but if I want to get more than 1, and I decide to go for it from index 2 to index 5, this is going to exclude index 5. So it's going to give me from index 2 to index 4. So I'm going to print this, and now it's returning a table for us, and it's giving us 3 items on that table. Okay, But if I decide to use the lock instead of iLock, it will return the entire 4 rows for me. So now we have 3 to 6. All right. So these are the ways you can access specific rows and columns in your work. So what if you want to access these columns with condition? So we can look at our CSV file. We can see that we have the age row, and this age row contains integer, and the rest of them contains string. Okay, so I can decide to say that I want to get the age row where the age is greater than 30, right? So let's go back to our file and get the age row with condition. So we can achieve this by passing in this data frame 1. Then we are going to open another list, square bracket, and pass in the data frame 1 again, right? And the way we indexed the age variable, we are going to index it here again. So we pass in the age, and then outside of this square bracket, I am going to say that I want the age to be greater than 30, right? So this is going to return all the rows that has the age that the age is greater than 30. So this is going to return all the rows that the age is greater than 30. So I am going to run this, and we can see the value of age in all of these rows are greater than 30. All right. Now we can also pass in multiple conditions, right? So assuming I want to get the indexes or the rows that the age is greater than 30, and that the text in the name row contains letter A, right? So how can we achieve that? Well, we can achieve this by, first of all, this first condition, we are going to enclose it in a bracket. And now we are going to pass in the and sign, and we are going to open another bracket and pass in another condition. So this second condition is going to be, well, the same data frame 1. I want to return the value of column name, and the condition we want for this name is that we want the name to contain a string. We are going to pass in a condition, and that condition is going to be a string method in Pandas that is used to check whether a certain string character is contained in an object. Okay, so and that string method is dot string, right? To show that it's a string method, then you now pass in this dot contains, and in here I'm going to pass in letter A. All right, so this is how you can pass in multiple conditions. So you access this data frame 1 as a list, then the first condition you group it, and then you index the row that you want, then pass in the condition, and then the second condition you also do the same. So if you want to pass in multiple conditions, this is how you can achieve that. So now I am going to clear this terminal, and I am going to run this. So we have the ones that the age is 30, and as you can see here, we have all the name variables. We have A contained in all of them. All right, so I hope you understand how you can load and selectively load your data with Pandas. So thank you so much for watching this video. In our next video, we are going to learn how to clean up our data. So stay tuned and see you in the next video.